Hello, Galaxy! I'm Chris Pirillo, a very white Chris Pirillo, actually kind of yellow in this light, or lack thereof. Let me see if I can change my skin tone. No, that actually made it worse! Well, I'm not exactly known for video production, just geeking out, and I wanted to give everybody an opportunity to find out what has been going on with me. I'm very excited to be able to tell you, in case you haven't been following along in social, on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, or if you haven't watched any of my videos ever, then you might not know I am a geek, and I love supporting fellow geeks, entrepreneurs, as I like to call them, especially if they happen to be in the business of geekery. I am producing an event in the Seattle area this weekend on Sunday. You're all invited. I do plan on doing videos around it. And as a matter of fact, Brandon Urban asks, what's your favorite video game? My favorite video game of all time is Adventure on the Atari 2600. I actually have that cartridge as part of my collection, which dovetails nicely into what it is that I'm doing for everybody this weekend. If you live in the Seattle area, I expect to see you there. If not, maybe you know someone who lives in the Seattle area, whether they're a geek or a nerd or married to one or dating one or there's one in their family. It's an event for the entire family. Completely different from the other events that I have produced in the past. It's called Galaxar. Galaxaar. So it's an amalgamation of the word galaxy and bizarre. It's a bazaar of intergalactic proportions. What I'm holding up right now is illegible. However, it's a graphic that highlights the 50 nerdy and geeky vendors that we have this weekend at Galaxar. They are going to be showcasing things like retro video games and action figures and toys, and those are other photos that I don't want to show you right now. Well, I could show you, because one of those photos is actually the mascot. I'm doing magnets, collectible magnets. Here, this is the current Galaxar mascot. He's going to be a limited edition magnet, one of 200. Could be yours. Only available at the event, but this is the list of vendors. I'll be sure to link it if you haven't seen it in my social feeds, but we're actually going to have a gigantic balloon sculptures, anime-styled sci-fi fan art, vintage toys, fine art prints, retro game pixel art, toy photography, all sorts of homemade nerd crafts. It's just kind of like an event that I would love to go to. So since no one else is really producing it the way that I would like to see it done, I'm doing it myself. It's not exactly like a big con, because it's not a conference, it's not a convention, there's no content, so to speak. It's just 50 vendors in a community center, and I'm kind of excited for it because it's really the future of where I'm going to be headed. LockerGnome has been a handle of mine for 20 years, and it's kind of been in limbo in terms of what I might be doing with it, because you know, as you very well know, you're not the same person as you were 5 years ago, at least I assume that. I'm certainly not the same person I was 20 years ago. And where I find my passions and interests, I'm also disconnected from them in a professional capacity. Starting a career and being yourself is sometimes a bit of a challenge. But I'm going to do this. I'm going to take a lot of my big passions and interests and combine them into Galaxar, for the lack of a better word. That's the word I came up with, something relatively new, and certainly new for me, where I can take all my interests in collecting Star Wars figures, including these vintage figures. I'm not going to sell them. I got them at a pretty good price. This 8D8, $45, mint on card, 77 back. Not in perfect shape, but again, for the price, hey, why not? I don't think I'm going to spin up a carded vintage Star Wars figure collection. I'm fine with my full loose collection here in the play shop. Combining that with my passion and interest for retro video games, with my passion and interest for enabling fellow entrepreneurs and succeed in doing their business, which is kind of the idea of gathering these 50 vendors. They're all people who are in business for themselves or have this business that, you know, they're selling things, that whether they're things that they have created themselves or they're reselling vintage items that, well, we call them vintage, nostalgic items that you might have grown up with, or certainly that I might have grown up with in the 70s, 80s, possibly even 90s. So Galaxar is the thing that's happening, and it's really it's exciting. I produced events before, did Gnome Decks for 10 years. I spun up Vlogger Fair, but Galaxar is really something I can see me sinking my teeth into because it really plays to my roots. And as I became a father, I recognized just how much I loved Star Wars and toys and Lego bricks. In fact, some of the more popular videos I've done in this channel, and do your research, the more popular videos I've done in the channel actually have to do with Lego. The Lego miniseries little surprise bags. What do they call these things? Poly bag. They're not poly bags. There's a word for these bags, and I suck at it. I love collecting them, but I haven't even had time to take the Batman minifigures out of their packaging. I've been so busy with Galaxar in planning this event that's coming up this weekend. I love all that stuff. They were popular videos in the channel, but if I do content in the future, it's really going to play into my passions and interests as a geek and loving this kind of experience and wanting to be a part of it. So expect to hear more about Galaxar moving forward, not just the event series, but we're going to be setting up a Facebook group that people can join for buying and selling, because I belong to a lot of Facebook groups. It's how I get a lot of the stuff that I might get on a regular basis. It's how I connect with other geeks and nerds in the community. Maybe even spinning up a podcast, interviewing other entrepreneurs. These are people who are creating things or selling things that I'm more than confident you want, or you didn't even know existed, or that are just so, well, awesome. I think they're awesome. So whatever I can do to further enable those entrepreneurs in this capacity, whether we're talking about a physical event where you would actually physically walk in to the door, or doing something online, the content that I do either in this channel or throughout social is going to dovetail into that kind of experience. Someone just asked, what are the bricks in the studio? The Tix clocks, they're iconic, man. They're iconic. Right there. You could even probably build your own, but I'm not a build your own kind of guy. I'm more like a, hey, that Rancor Keeper looks pretty nice. I think I will take that Rancor Keeper. But I'm also the kind of guy that says, hey, there's a new Star Wars book. I'd be happy to read it, if only because Jedi, as she's getting older, is going to learn how to read, and I would love to be able to have her learn how to read with all the Star Wars characters. She knows more Star Wars characters than she does Sesame Street characters, and I think that is awesome. So awesome. So, yeah, it's not just Star Wars, though, just so you know. Galaxar, really, it's the intended focus is vintage and modern toys. And when I say vintage, I mean like my kind of vintage, growing up in the 80s, possibly even the 70s, nostalgia from that generation, even old wax packs, non-sport trading cards. Those were huge in the 80s. We actually have a vendor who's going to be selling those there, to more modern pop culture collectibles, to original nerd crafts, people, who normally sell on Etsy or eBay would fit the profile of the focus of this kind of entity. So I wanted to let everybody know it's happening this weekend. And I know not everybody's going to be able to go there, but I keep calling it the Galaxar event series because it's my intention to do it again, probably in the greater Seattle area, since that's, where I am based. But, if there's another community out there, as we discover, this is something that could easily happen in different locations throughout the entire world, if, that's what, kind of plays out. Honestly, in planning this, we've found 50 vendors that fit the profile that we're looking to target. And then, of course, the people to come to that event, that's the other part, right? We got the vendors, we got the people who've got stuff that's going to be there. But then the other side is the geeks and nerds and their families who pour in. Having something for males and females, boys, girls, men, women, moms, dads, kids, kidults. It's not just about one demographic, but really making a good event, a good day event that gets someone out of the house for a day to have fun and to experience something that is just, you could walk away with something old, something new, and something original. I would love that kind of event. And I know there are plenty of those types of events out there, but one that has no content. Like, I don't want to deal with panels and speakers. I don't care. I just want, show me the goodies. Show me the geeky goodies. So it's like Etsy and eBay brought to life. I'm so excited. So the first one is this weekend. We want to be able to do another one here this year, and it may happen. And expect, as I said, more video, in this channel probably. I plan on showing everybody what's going on the show floor when it happens here this weekend. If you are in Seattle, I expect to see you there. I'll put links in the video description. I assume you've been following the bouncy ball for a while. I don't know if we're going to have any sports stuff there, not to disappoint. I don't think that's going to be a problem, though. So I don't know if this is working as well as I would like it to in terms of the video quality, but I'm using the YouTube broadcaster on the mobile app, and it works. I'm happy that it works. It was simple. It's just that I turned out kind of looking very Simpson-esque. Oh, there we go. If I hold up my hands, that's closer to my normal skin tone rather than Simpsonized Pirillo. Which one do you like better? You like the glowing Pirillo? Look, I'm from Cocoon. I'm assuming nobody got that reference. But thank you for tuning in. I see a couple of people, and I'm glad I was able to answer their questions, including the bad motivator. Another Star Wars fan. Spread the word. It spans the fandoms from superheroes to sci-fi to, actually, one of the vendors creates jewelry that's inspired by pastries. That's totally geeky. I mean, is it for me? Not at all, but I know Diana's going to love it. In fact, I told her this is the one event you can go to buy anything you want. Because everything is awesome. It's kind of like Lego. There's a nice little dovetail. Galaxar, Galaxaar. You can follow on Twitter. You can follow on Facebook. Stay tuned for more information. I'll be publishing more video after the event takes place. Maybe even doing more video like this. I've been honestly angling to try to find a different place to do live video from. It just hasn't always coincided with my scheduling. But I'm very grateful that a friend, Slav, Slav, saying his last name sometimes makes me drool. I don't know why. He, without his effort, I don't think we would have been able to nail down these 50 vendors. 50 at our first event. 50. Oh man, it's just going to be so geeky. So if you know someone in Seattle, tell them it's happening, please, because that's the last mile. And my hope is to be able to ramp up Galaxar to do it possibly even once a month. Which would be so cool. But to also interview these fellow entrepreneurs to kind of get their story out and maybe doing a weekly podcast and interviewing a different type of vendor to talk about their backstory and how they got involved and why they are pursuing a business with these geeky and nerdy inclinations. I think those are fascinating stories I would love listening to, which dovetails into my geekiness, my entrepreneurialism for the past 20 years, being a father, creating something that brings happiness to people. That to me is going to make this a successful event. If it's something where I see a father or a mother just light up because they see a toy that they always wanted, I always wanted to get a Bib Fortuna. And they totally forgot about it. And then this spurs on a new collection or a passion or an interest that they can share with their entire family. I think that is absolutely amazing. That will make it a successful event. So check out the links in the video description. Stay tuned. Definitely more to come, but that's where I'm headed personally, professionally, enabling entrepreneurs, having a geeky good time, creating things that make people happy, sharing stories, being involved with the greater geeky community and using technology for what it was designed for as a means to an end. Talking about technology, quite honestly, is very boring. But using it to connect with other people and using technology to connect people with happiness, I think is where the real story is. No fake news here. I love you. I appreciate you, but at this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices, and may the Force be with you. I will see you, or possibly one of your friends or family members, at Galaxar.